I lived for a while in the American Midwest. The winters are cold. During my time there, I noticed that ice sometimes formed on the trees and cars. But this large-scale soft rime ice phenomenon seems unique to northern Japan.
Next, let's turn to a wonder of water created by another unique geographic setting. Ehime is a prefecture on Japan's smallest main island of Shikoku. Here, a mist formed of tiny water droplets suspended in the air creates a remarkable spectacle.
In western Ehime Prefecture, a river called the Hijikawa enters the Seto Inland Sea. On winter mornings, a phenomenon called a Hijikawa mist storm can occur.
The sky turns white.
It's like thick clouds of steam over the river.
The Ozu Basin upstream along the Hijikawa is known for its mists. These mists flow down from the basin to the sea along the river valley. This phenomenon has been compared to a white dragon. On clear winter nights, radiant cooling causes the temperature of the basin to dip below freezing point. This causes water vapor to condense into small droplets, raising a mist. Sometime past 2 a.m., the mist suddenly thickens and envelops the basin. When dawn comes, mist fills the basin to the brim. The layer of mist is around 300 meters thick. From a high vantage point, it looks like an ocean of clouds. The basin has an outlet to the Hijikawa River Valley. The mist flows down along the river valley. A white dragon twisting downstream. This time-lapse footage shows a huge bank of mist tumbling violently down the river valley. This is called a Hijikawa mist storm. It is the only phenomenon of its kind in the world.
I've never seen a mist like that. It's beautiful. The way it flows along is like nothing I've ever seen.
Well, let's take a look at the conditions that give rise to the Hijikawa mist storm. Here is the Ozu Basin, with the Hijikawa flowing through it. Now there are two important factors. First, a basin which readily gives rise to mists is located just 10 kilometers from the sea. Another factor is that mountains flank both banks of the Hijikawa as it runs to the sea.
The river valley, hemmed in by mountains, is a distinctive feature.
Yes, during the day the basin is warmer than the ocean. That causes rising air currents in the basin. This pulls in a flow of air full of moisture from the sea to the basin. When night falls, if the weather is clear, the basin temperature drops due to radiative cooling, turning the moisture into mist. At night, the opposite of the daytime pattern occurs. The valley air is cool, producing descending air currents. The mists ride these winds down the valley to the sea. The valley of the Hijikawa River, hemmed in by mountains, provides an ideal wind corridor.
It's typical for winds to change like that between night and day. But here we have both a basin that is prone to filling with mist and a river valley flanked by mountains that provides a corridor for the mist.
Yes, it's a concurrence of factors that creates this spectacular natural phenomenon. Now, with one more condition, the Hijikawa mist storm occurs on an even bigger scale.
the Hijikawa mist storm glides above the river like a white dragon. But a local man observing from a high vantage point isn't impressed.
Well, unless the mist comes as far as the bridge, it doesn't deserve to be called a Hijikawa mist storm. It's not even worth filming. It needs to come further down the river.
Today, the flowing mist stops short of the bridge near the river mouth. That's why he wasn't satisfied. What is a real Hijikawa mist storm? Former local weatherman Takakazu Nakata is just the man to tell us. Nakata-san says the extent of the Hijikawa mist storm is heavily influenced by the river temperature. Here is the fluctuation in temperature at the river mouth for a certain day. There are 2 periods of time when the temperature of the river rises by as much as 4 degrees Celsius. These changes are produced by the tides. As the tide rises, large volumes of warm seawater flood into the river, raising its temperature. When high tide coincides with the morning hours when the Hijikawa mist storm occurs, mist rises from the river too, amplifying the phenomenon.
It's like steam rising from a hot bath. When cold winter air comes in contact with the hot bath water, steam billows up. This is the same mechanism. Warm seawater flows up the river, and cold air lies on top of it. Then you get a really big mist.
January 19th. While it is still dark, mist begins flowing from the Ozu Basin down the Hijikawa River Valley. After dawn, the mist continues to tumble down the valley. This is near the river mouth. Watch the lower right of the screen. The shoals and riverbank become submerged. It's high tide and warm seawater has flowed into the river. At high tide, a thick mist rises from the river's surface. The entire river looks like a steaming hot bath. Mist even rises from the river's upper reaches too, and flows along with the mist pouring down from the basin. The bridge at the river mouth is completely engulfed in mist. From the basin to the sea, a continuous cascade of cottony white clouds. The mist surges out to sea in a remarkable fan-shaped pattern. On this day, geographic and weather conditions have aligned perfectly to produce the most spectacular version of the Hijikawa mist storm.
All these random factors come together to produce this spectacle. I'd love to see it in person.
Today, we've seen some of the unique and wonderful things that water can do.
Water is essential to our existence. Today, we were able to see water-related phenomena that I never knew about before. It's amazing to see what can happen. These things only occur when conditions in the natural world line up perfectly.
All these phenomena are at a local level. Looking at the global scale, we could see a different picture of how water moves. For example, the view from space. I would love to see what things look like from up there. That would be amazing.
Well, that's all for Science Zero.
See you next time.